to the show and fall out your door. We got that info for you. Touchdown on that side and buy anything. More than just a podcast for you.
But we're going to move to my favorite question of the whole series. It's the tweener question. And this, I like this question because it makes me research. So this week, our question is about dual threat QBs versus pro style QBs. Can one develop into the other? And which one is more valued?
I think one definitely can develop into the other. I think that being a dual threat, you can develop into a pro style. I think I'm against dual threat, and I had this whole story of how I think a lot of athletes, dual threat athletes, they use their athleticism in Pop Warner, they use their athleticism in high school and stuff like that, and they don't learn the game. And I think a lot of pro style athletes that don't have speed and quickness, they learn the game more so they can develop and get a chance to go to the NFL. So I have even though dual threat is taking over the NFL, but I just don't like coaches because they use their talents too much versus trying to get their game better. So definitely dual threat can develop into pro style. I don't have an example, but it can do that.
See, I disagree. Number one, it goes to coaching. If you're a coach and you're going after a dual threat quarterback, why are you trying to change him to do anything if it's working for what he's done? If you're a dual threat quarterback and that's your game, then you need to change your offense. It comes down to coaching. If I know that in my system I need a Peyton Manning, a statue back there, then I'm not going to go and draft a Kyler Murray. I'm going to go and try to find a statue. And it might come 2 years from now, and maybe I'm not able to get a statue. Maybe I have to trade for one. But I don't think you can turn somebody that, if you have a talent, why switch it? If in basketball, if you have a guy that shoots really awkward, but it goes in, why would you work on his shot? It just doesn't make sense. Coaching needs to change.
Coaching, I like you.
I got you, but you don't win Super Bowls being a dual threat quarterback.
Well, wait a minute. Hold up. Let me go, Randy. You already went. Let me talk about what I don't even like the terminology. I feel like it's a racist connotation, and I'm just being honest with you. I've had this conversation so many times because when I first started learning about football, I asked my husband, I said, if somebody's a dual threat, I'm going to go with them all day because that means that they can throw and they can run. But the dual threat quarterback doesn't get the line. The dual threat quarterback gets paid less in a lot of cases. The dual threat oftentimes looks like me. And so I don't even like it. I don't even want to talk about what Damond said on the whole, can somebody transition into why? Colin Kaepernick is a great example. Colin Kaepernick was in San Francisco doing Colin Kaepernick, and yet they tried to turn him into Steve Young. Why? He's not Steve Young. If you want Steve Young, go draft a Steve Young. But he was winning, being a dual threat quarterback, and somebody told him he had to become a drop back quarterback. I think it's just something that the league uses to keep black quarterbacks, and you guys are saying now that they are taking over the league or whatever. They're using it to basically look at the boy Lamar Jackson. That boy can throw better than anybody I know, but he can run too. So what? Like he's winning. Let him do him if you want to win. I say change these freaking coaches, give them a name and change them out, because you're absolutely right. If I got a quarterback who's winning for me, I'm going to adjust my receivers. I'm going to adjust my running back. I'm going to adjust my line so that he can win. I'm not going to say, oh, but he's not a good thrower, or, oh, but he in the end zone every other play, but you commenting on his negative stuff and you're giving it a label saying it's a dual threat, because Roger Staubach was a dual threat quarterback. Anybody remember him? They weren't calling it that then back then, though, right? Because that boy used to scramble. He used to run. Who else was it? John Elway. Come on. Like, we got to start calling these things for what they are. The football league, to me, is just the NFL They need a do-over.
But I got Steve Young. Steve Young was fast though, man. Come on, man. Give him some credit. He had some wheels.
Okay. Well, I may admit, what's the other one? I may admit
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Yeah. Joe Montana was slow. Joe Montana was slow. He was slow. Definitely.
I'm gonna say that I do not think that it is good to make a quarterback try to be something that he's not. And if you know that, I mean, that you knew what he was when you drafted him. There's the difference between teaching somebody patience, because sometimes I do think that scrambling quarterbacks, they may not necessarily have enough patience all the time. Teaching someone patience versus trying to remake them into an image that they're not. Cam Newton is never going to be Tom Brady. And let me just tell y'all something. When Bill Belichick wins a Super Bowl with Cam Newton, then all these NFL coaches are going to think differently about dual threat quarterbacks, because he's going to win the Super Bowl with him.
Man, get out of here. New England ain't winning the Super Bowl. Get out of here.
I'm just saying that but one thing he's not going to try to do is, I bet you he's not going to try to make Cam Newton over into Tom Brady's image.
Nope. And that's where you'll see good coaching.
And when Bill Belichick does that, that's when other coaches will open their mind. And it's sad, but it's true. Michael Vick, Colin Kaepernick, Cam, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, all of your premier quarterbacks are what we call dual threat. And we do need to respect that and give them the lines that they deserve so that they actually have longevity. Because I think, in my opinion, when you have a dual threat quarterback, once they scramble, defenses don't respect them the same way. They're not trying to, they treat them differently. I've seen some of the hits that Cam Newton has taken. It's a whole different ballpark when people line up to hit Cam Newton versus when people try to hit Tom Brady. And that's another conversation. But I'm going to say you definitely shouldn't try to change your quarterback to be something that he's not. You should just create the team around them. Having said that, definitely treat it differently, down to the way that they are approached on defense. And I don't like it. But that's another question.
That is another question. We need to talk about it, though.
We do, because it's a very real thing, but I'm going to control myself. So next question. Naomi Oaska received a message from the parents of Travon Martin and Ahmad Arbery after her tennis matches about using her platform for activism. Just in case people don't know, she wears a mask every match, and it has a different name on it. What are some differences between her and Tiger Woods?
It's a lot of difference. First of all, the beginner's question, you got to say, just because you're an athlete or just because you're an actor, do you have to speak up about social injustice and stuff like that? You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan didn't. You know, he does now. But I just really feel like we're put on the earth to make the earth better than what it was when we got here. And that could be just raising your family. That could be activism. That could be anything. So, like, I feel like the bigger the names, the more effect it'll have on people that can actually make change. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though, you know, Trump tried to get in, even though it's political, you know, him getting into the Big Ten and trying to make change, it helps. He showed what he can do. So I feel like when you have people like Tiger Woods and Charles Barkley or anybody talk about something, I think it definitely helps and makes change. So for her to do that when she doesn't really have to, she could be, because I think she's mixed with what's her nationality?
Haitian and Japanese, right?
Yeah. To me, she could just choose to be Japanese. She don't have to claim being black. You know, I don't think Tiger Woods actually claims being black. She could just move on in that lane. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real. And for her to do what she's doing, it's a big thing. I applaud her.
Well, what we're not going to do is disrespect Tiger. I'm not really sure why so are we saying because Tiger hasn't said anything? Is that what we were saying, Jamesetta?
No, we're just asking the question, just to get your thoughts. We're not saying anything.
We're not going to disrespect Tiger. You know, Tiger's daddy's name was Earl. So we already know. But anyway, I think it's awesome that, she's using her platforms, even, didn't play a few matches or several matches. But I also agree totally with what Randy said. We all don't have to speak out, and we all don't have to agree. If somebody doesn't agree, it's okay, but I do want you to hush. I don't want you to say nothing, because the people that are speaking out are speaking out. So allow everybody who has a platform to use their platform however they want. I mean, Trayvon Martin's mom expressed her love for her, so did Ahmad, Arbery's dad, and so it was awesome. I mean, it feels good when you think these people are, celebrities or entertainers or athletes or whatever, and they're using your son who was murdered or whatever. I think it's awesome, and I think that more people should continue to speak out, use their platform, guys. That's what we're in a social media age, so why not? But for the people who don't, it's okay. I ain't mad at you personally, but I also don't want you backdooring anybody saying, oh, athletes should just be quiet.
I'm inclined to agree. I think that, and I've said this before, only speak on what's passionate to you. Only speak what you really have knowledge of. I think Dave Chappelle said it best. He's like, I'm quiet right now because the streets are talking and they can speak for themselves. So if you're an athlete and you don't have an informed opinion about a subject, shut up. But what you can always do is cut the check. Quietly cut the check. Support organizations who are going to benefit, who are knowledgeable, who are actually doing real work to help people look like you. I don't necessarily think that Tiger Woods being silent is good or bad. I think that this has never been an issue for him. Social justice hasn't been his thing. So for him to speak out now, I'm like, I don't necessarily expect it, because it's not his lane. And so, but we also don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. He could be saying, because like when we watched The Last Dance, Michael Jordan was never vocal about supporting somebody, but he did cut the check. And so now he's being more vocal. But again, we don't know what Tiger Woods' issue is. And it's okay for people not to speak out about things that they're not passionate about. And we also don't know what they're doing behind the scenes either. So I want people to get away from looking for a celebrity to speak out about an issue. Because then people feel like, what is it? Are you a man or a mouse? Are you waiting for Tiger Woods to say something before you say something? Is that the permission that you need? I mean, if you're about it, be about it. And it doesn't matter who, from a celebrity perspective, comes forward, whether they support your issue or not. If you're passionate about it, you should do something about it. And it shouldn't have anything to do with what a celebrity chooses to support or not support. That's just my opinion.
James, real quick. Just remember this too. Rich people have to give money away regardless. So cutting a check don't always mean they care. Like rich people have to give a certain amount of money away so they can make more money as far as the taxes.
I don't care if you care. I don't care if you care, because all these businesses talking about Black Lives Matter, I know they don't care. But cut the check to an appropriate organization that can go do the work. I know you just want a tax write-off. I know that's all you want. I ain't even mad at you. But cut the check so the people in the community can.
But we gotta remember this too, though. Without Tiger Woods, he was the breakthrough in golf. Let's be real. I mean, no one even watched golf before Tiger Woods.
I did.
So me either. So we have to give him that. I mean, you know what? If you're passionate about it, then say something. If you're not, then don't. But at the end of the day, to ignore that there's a problem, there's one. That's the problem. We don't know what Tiger's doing behind the scenes, but what Tiger's done for the blacks is, whether he's whether he never felt anything or went through anything, what he's done for blacks is insane. He's gave them the opportunity and the mindset to believe, look, I can be like Tiger Woods. If I work hard, I can get there. And that right there alone, maybe he does. Maybe the next major black golfer comes up and is an activist, but maybe Tiger just wasn't. But he opened that door. So I'm never gonna, throw him under the bus, because what he did for golf and what he did for the blacks, period, just to give them the hope and the belief that they can do it is bigger than anything, in my opinion.
kind of like, are you saying it's kind of like the Williams sisters with tennis? Black people look at tennis as an option now because.
Absolutely.
Okay, I get that.
Because before then, it was Arthur Ashe, but where were the women?
It was a black woman. My husband watches tennis. I ain't watched tennis before the Williams sisters either.
See,
I don't watch golf. Like Tiger, I'm like, let me just. All right, I don't do golf. It's boring. But I digress. Last question.
Wait a minute, but Jamesetta, real quick though. But when Tiger's playing, watch. Like it really is super. When he playing, it's competitive, right?
Well, I noticed. No, I'm gonna say this. This is what I've noticed. When he plays, ticket prices go up. No, I'm serious. The one year that he didn't play at the Masters, I have friends that go to the Masters every year. The year that he didn't play, I think they're saying that the tickets were like $1,000 or $2 cheaper. So like when he plays, the price of the ticket might go up from maybe $3,000 to $5,000. So I do know that there's the Tiger Woods effect is very real. I know that it's real. I'm just saying, me personally, and I think I've watched him play at least once, but I'm just like, ooh, that's kind of boring. But I digress. But I know, no, people, listeners, I know that the Tiger Woods effect is real. Just want to let y'all know. I know people do watch and they charge more when he plays. Last question. Charles Barkley and Stephen A. Smith got into a little bit of an internet spat about Steve Nash getting his coaching job at the Brooklyn Nets without any prior experience. Stephen A. Smith says that Steve Nash getting to coach superstars like Kyrie, Irvin, and KD is without any prior experience is a result of white privilege. Thoughts?
Damon, you go first.
Oh,
Me?
I'll do it. Let's go.
Go ahead.
I'm not afraid to talk about this. You're talking about a franchise that's new. What have they done? They haven't done crap. They used retread coaches for years. Now you try to find a guy. Listen, number one, I'm a diehard Phoenix Suns fan. So asking me this question is just wrong because Steve Nash, when he played the game, he was the best point guard at his position. Point. He made it to the All-Star game. How many years in a row? He was a stud. He understands offense. He understands the game and how it moves. He understands fast-paced tempo. He has that with Kyrie Irvin. He has that with KD to move the ball. Give him an opportunity. How do we know if it was a bad choice for coaching until we give him a shot? We already know what Mark Jackson can do. He's been a coach. What has he done? So how is this a white privilege thing? See, this is where I get it. Yeah, he's Canadian. Let's not give him anything. He's a Canadian, okay? We can't just jump out there and say, oh, it's white privilege. They use white privilege a lot. Is it real? It is real. It is. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But to sit there and say that he was given the job because of his race, because he's never coached and he has no experience. Tyronn Lue's a good coach because he had who? LeBron. Yeah. Listen, it's real simple. Give the guy a shot. It's a new guy coming off. If you were a new guy off the street and applying for a position, and you've never done it before, but you have all these accolades and things in your background, and you get the job, no matter what, if we're just looking at resumes, why not give him a shot? What's Mark Jackson's overall record? What's Tyronn Lue's overall record? And then look at who was on their teams. Yeah, he's never coached before, but you don't know what he's capable of. What if in his first year he goes and takes them to the championship? Then is it white privilege, or was it a great hire?
Okay. I want to respond to Damon. I'm so glad you said what you said, Damon. Okay, so absolutely it is white privilege. It's white privilege because he doesn't have the experience. And you can talk about Tyronn Lue, and you can talk about Mike Brown, and you can talk about whoever. I'm going to talk about Byron Scott. I'm going to talk about the guys who do have the experience that are never given the opportunity. They've waited. I'm going to talk about Patrick Ewing. I don't even know how good he is, but how long did he sit as somebody's assistant and never got a head coaching job? So the point is that white privilege is real. I'm glad you admitted that. It is. He's Canadian, which means white. They can be Italian, which means white. What's the young man down in Miami considered white? Clearly brown, but white. So I agree with whoever said it. I didn't even hear the comment, but I know for a fact that the systems are set up. And so when you talk about, you know, give them a shot, I say give some of these black, because just because you play well definitely doesn't mean you can coach. Definitely does not mean you can coach. So to take somebody off the couch, it's no different than these NFL taking players off the couch when Colin Kaepernick was ready to go. It's no different than that. And I think that somebody has to continue to say something about these things, or they will continue to happen. Do I think Steve Nash deserved the job? Absolutely not. Do I think that there's probably a more qualified black coach that could have gotten that job? Absolutely. A lot of people talk about don't give us stuff, but we've been so affected by white privilege. That system has been so perpetuating that we are stunned by it. So yeah, give us something if that's what makes you feel better. But I do believe that there was a black man that was more qualified for the job that didn't get it, and that constitutes to me white privilege.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say, for those people who are listening, some of y'all might think that white privilege means that people who are white don't experience hardship. That is not what white privilege is. So for the listeners, it's just saying, white privilege is saying that if you have white skin, there are inherent advantages that you have over people with brown or black skin, just on the basis of your race, especially in a society like ours that is characterized by racial inequality and injustice. So some of y'all are listening and you're like thinking, all right, they're just saying that white people never had any problems. That's not what white privilege is. Make sure that when you're listening to this debate, you're actually operating off the correct definition, because some of y'all listening won't. So just want to throw that out there. And then Randy, go ahead.
First of all, I hope he got a psychology degree, because he gonna have to deal with KD and Kyrie Irvin, and they like loony sometimes. Like really, they really loony. So like for them to make it to the championship, he gonna have to keep their head right. Like for real. This is my opinion. But y'all said some good stuff. I will say this though, there should be more black people in different management positions, different coaching positions around all sports. Because I mean, we make up so much of the sport, certain sport, and in basketball and football. So there should be more. But we always went to the point where we felt like we had to do twice as much to get certain places. But we got to do that. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep fighting for that and keep doing it. I think by all the stuff going on, this George Floyd thing really just changed the game for a lot of things. So we're gonna have advancement and a lot of stuff coming up real soon. So we just got to keep fighting for different things. And when we get it, we got to take the best part of we got to take advantage of the opportunity. If we don't take advantage of that opportunity, it's just going to bring us back again. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we definitely got to take advantage of that opportunity. When you look at Tony Dungy, leaving Tampa, and then Tampa winning the next year, something like that.
That was the Black News team. Absolutely. Lovey Smith. Is that his name?
No, Tony Dungy was at the Bucks, and he put together a team, and they weren't patient with him, and then he left, and John Gruden came in and won
his first year.
And then the same thing happened with Mark Jackson. Was it Mark Jackson that would Golden State?
Yeah, Mark Jackson.
But we just don't know the intricacies of like what was the difference. Because it was a development process before Golden State became the Golden State. So you just don't know. I don't really know. Like, I don't.
Go ahead.
But we can't discredit the fact that Golden State went on to win.
But
we can't discredit the fact that John Gruden brought out the best in them players. The foundation might have been there, but John Gruden they traded for that guy and gave up draft picks and capital to get him there. And then in his first year, he wins.
But here's what I think. Here's what you make a good point, Damon. This is where I think that people don't understand. For me, this is where white privilege really works. It's the network of people. John Gruden had connections. Like when you go in and you look at people who have connections, my dad did this, my grandfather did this, a friend of my dad's was at this, and so because I was around people, they give me an opportunity because of proximity. Not to say that John Gruden isn't good, but when you go, especially when you pull back the layers of coaching, It really is about connections. And a lot of those connections are made in places where black and brown and even female faces are not seen. We're not invited to the country club. We're not invited to golf. We're not invited, you know, to sit in the box. And that for me is where white privilege actually takes effect, because there are people who, I'm not saying they're not qualified, but they do have, it's a lot of times when you pull back the layers, pick a sport, any sport, and pull back the layers, and there is an underlying connection there 95% of the time.
97.
And so I'm not going to say that. One of the things we're going to find out is if, you know, because there is a thought process that good player equals good coach. So we're going to find out if he's a good coach.
But
hey, and if you, real quick,
I want to speak to what Randy said though. Like the people aren't in the, and it's basically echoing what Jamesetta just said. There's nobody in the front office. When there's nobody in that front office to say, hey, no, let's look at this guy or whatever that's looking for my interest. See, people that look alike, it's just like you said, Damon, about Tiger Woods. Because Tiger Woods, don't care what he associated with, he looked like me. So I can relate to him. I'm more interested because what is this brown boy going to do? So when you got a front office that is totally white, that is sibling, look at the Buss family out with the Lakers and this, that, and the other, Jerry Jones out in Dallas or whatever. Those people don't have anything. They don't. My interest is not at all, even though we are the, like she said, 70% of any league, any team or whatever. It's just run, boy, run. And so when you look at, nope, Steve Kerr didn't deserve that position either. I'm going to say that because you asked. But you really got to understand, like when it's all these black men out here, and then so now we got to fight for the commentator job because we can't get the coaching jobs. You know, when the sport is about, I mean, again, I don't mean to sound selfish, but about us. Like, come on, like that's white privilege all day. I'm a fan of Steve Nash or whatever, but doesn't mean that he deserved that job over somebody who has been on the for eons, backing up, sitting. They just started in the NFL. What's the young man's name for Kansas City that didn't get a head coaching job as well?
Eric Bieniemy.
We can go on and on and on. So we got to keep saying something about it is all I'm saying. Maybe he is qualified. Maybe he can do the job. But I also don't like the fact that, right, it's pretty much a ready-made team. You can say all you want, psychotic. They're psychotic. Them boys can shoot. Kyrie can ball out. He was never a fit for the Celtics. Thank God he gone. But also the same thing with Durant. Come on, man. How he get a team with Durant and Kyrie on it, and now all he got to do is kind of, come on, man. No.
Well, I mean, but that's the same thing you're talking about with Tyronn Lue and all them. He got a job because of who? Because somebody wanted him there, because LeBron wanted him there. And now he's got a great record in his career because he knew somebody. It's all about who you know. Listen, man, this is listen, and I want to just add, I'm going to end it with this. When you guys get invited to the country club, because I sure as hell don't get one, let me know.
I promise I'm taking my people. I take my people.
I'm riding along. So I don't care whether you invite me or not. I'm riding like I'm there with you. Because I don't get no damn country club invite.
Well, you won before me, and my son wasn't in the league.
No, the country club invite, man, that's all about money, man. It's everything about money, and you just, like you said, you do what, if somebody's similar to you, you don't cater to them. Like, I like Big Brother. My whole family watch Big Brother, right? Y'all know anything about Big Brother?
Hey, no? I don't watch it no more. No.
Yeah, so my whole family Big Brother, like Big Brother. It's never gonna be a black person win Big Brother. It's never. It's never gonna be one. But it's not racist. It's just people. They get together with people they like, and they vote out people that's not close to them. And so most of the time, it's more white people in Big Brother, so they get together with people they like, and they vote out other people. That's I look like at America like that.
Randy, but that is racist because you know who picked the people that are going to be on the show? White people. So they don't pick as many brown people as they. It's always like 2 black people and 10 white people. Come on now.
Well, if the show had a whole bunch of black people on there, it'd probably come on after 12 because they'd be fighting all the time. It would be different.
See, you being judgmental now. See, I can't do this. No, white people be fighting too.
I'm gonna wrap it up. This was great discussion, but again, this goes back to my point. The way that white privilege really works, it's in the network, it's in the proximity, it's in the I'm in a position of power, and who do I want to come along with me? It's the people that I know and trust, and typically they look like me. That's how you have Brock Turner raping somebody, and then he gets a judge who also went to Stanford, who's a white male, who looks at him and says, this is a good young man. We're from the same place. And he gets 6 months and only serves 3. Like, white privilege works in the relationships. I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to end. Thank you guys for joining us for another edition of the 10-4 YouTube show. We'll see you guys next week.